Now, there I want to jump quickly over. So again, everybody is going to see this same page here. So no matter what section you are, you're going to be in the Finance 103 section here. Everybody is linked in here because everybody is on the same schedule doing the same thing. Here's what it looks like. I will be posting announcements and sending out my weekly emails through the announcements page here. So you'll see there, they'll all be stored there. You can go back and check it. I will be posting this welcome video right up in here when it's finished. You can see a copy of the syllabus right here. If the syllabus ever has to change for any reason, I'll send out an email saying that it changed, and I'll post the updated one, although we shouldn't expect that to happen here. There's a really helpful file here called Check My Grade. We'll talk about grades, and I'll come back to this, but it's posted right up here. It's an Excel file. You can download it. You can use it. This will allow you to see your grade at any point in time throughout the class, and it's already all pre-built. Okay, this is a really helpful file that I've put together over the years based on current research. It's called How to Study Based on How Memory Works, and it talks about basically the brain hacks that you can do on yourself in order to help you remember and study better. Now, you guys are juniors in college, more or less. Most of you are juniors in college or seniors. So presumably you've already learned and internalized good study habits and techniques. If you haven't and you've just been getting by, I'd give this a read. It really helped me over the years throughout all the 10 years of college that I did. It's just useful tips based on actual scientific research about how the brain works and how we remember things. So it's there. Of course, you don't have to read it. There's no exam. But it might help you if you find you're struggling in this or any other class. Okay. The next thing you'll see is all the lectures posted. They're broken down by chapter. You'll see the PowerPoints, the example problems, right? So the PowerPoints are just your average PowerPoint. Maybe not average. My PowerPoints are guidelines for the lecture. So they are a brief overview of the things that I'm going to say in the lecture. So by no means is studying a PowerPoint going to be enough to understand the material in this class and get you through it. What they are intended to be is a helpful way for you to follow along during the lecture, or take notes on during the lecture, print it out with the notes pages, something like that. They are the highlights, right? And you'll notice that some things are highlighted more than others. But other than that, this is not just going to be read the PowerPoints in terms of studying for this class. Okay? To go along with each of the lectures is a set of example problems. Okay? The example problems are example problems that I'm going to work during the lecture, so they're put into the lecture videos. They're tied into the lecture videos, so every so often during the lecture video, I'll take a break. I'll say, okay, we're going to work this example problem about what we just discussed. I would encourage you guys to print these out, right? So they are structured. They are structured so that there is space to work the problem alongside me. If we were in person, I would work an example, then I would make everybody in class work an example. I would ask you, random people, to give me the answers, so that you would get a chance to work them on your own. Obviously, we can't really do that in an asynchronous course, but I promise you, you will be much more successful in this class if you at least work these alongside me. Instead of just watching the video, watch the video and write it out. That's one of the things in the life hack about how memory works, is that writing, actually physically writing things, helps you remember them better than watching it or typing it or doing anything else. Okay, so try to work it. Instead of me being able to make you work a secondary problem, I'm just going to tell you to work a secondary problem in the example video. I'll say, okay, now stop and work the next problem. And then I'll show you the answers for that. And what the goal of that is that you have a chance to do it without seeing me do it, without the crutch of following along. And then you're able to check whether you did it right when I give you the answers next. That is the best way to see whether you've grasped and understood the material. Okay, so there is files here for everyone. I would encourage you to find a way to print them out. There's not that many total pages, so you can print them all out at the university or from your friend or parent or whatever. It will help you a lot. if you do it that way. Okay. So those are all posted. There are the lecture and example videos. So we can click into this. These are the lecture videos for chapter 2. They're all listed over here. So part 1 through 5. The example videos are listed separately. All of these are posted on YouTube. So that in the event that As You Learn goes down, as it sometimes does, you will always be able to get to the lectures and maybe you just go there first. But you can also watch them straight through here. So this is the lecture for chapter 1. The example videos are then posted. It's me working the example videos. If you click through to the YouTube channel, you can find it here. These are all listed in playlists. So you can watch the playlist from start to finish, or you can click through to whatever one you want. You'll see that at the end of all the videos, the examples that I work in that part of the lecture are listed so that you can click through and watch the example. And here's an example where I'm working through the example and talking about it. And then at the end of this, the next lecture will pop up, and you should be able to watch it all like that. Okay. So all the lectures are posted. You can just go straight to the channel and you can find the playlists that are listed here, and you can start there. Now make sure that I have multiple classes, so I have videos for more advanced finance classes that obviously you don't need, that I'm welcome to watch, but you certainly don't need. So make sure that you're watching the Fin 3680 and not, for instance, the Fin 4660, because the chapters will sometimes be the same. So you can come here and watch all the chapter 2, oh, that's 4660. You can watch all the chapter 2 lectures for this class. There's 5 of them. You can then watch the chapter 2 example problems. And they go hand in hand. So all the lectures are already posted. All the example videos are already posted. The lectures themselves go through a, you'll see as you watch, they're intermixed between me and the slides, right? So they'll go back and forth. I try to make it as close to an in-person lecture as I can for me. So you can always just go to YouTube and watch the videos. But you can also always just get it straight from As You Learn. Okay. Alongside that is, or maybe it's better to say that one of the important parts of this class, particularly for non-finance majors, but also for finance and accounting majors, is to familiarize you with the lingo of the business world, particularly of the finance world. Okay, so there is a lot of language and terminology that is unique and different, and it is become so commonplace in the business world that people will say all of these acronyms and all of these terms and just expect that everyone listening knows what they're talking about. And of course, this is your introduction to the class, so I don't expect that you do that. And so anytime that I introduce a new term, I will stop and explain it. But that is a big part of this class, so we'll do it a lot. And by the end of it, hopefully you'll be able to listen to someone talking about WACC and net working capital and cash flows from assets or free cash flow and understand what all those things are. Someone says the discounted value of the future free cash flows. By the end of the class, hopefully that doesn't sound like Greek to you. Okay. That being said, that's one of the hardest parts, is learning this new terminology because it's a new language. What I will try to do is talk about those things in the lectures and during the examples, but I also at points try to post articles from the Wall Street Journal or other financial news sources so that you can get an idea of how these are actually used, right? If you plan on going into the finance world, I highly, highly recommend that you start to keep up with financial news now, right? As sooner the better. You need to have a good background in what the hell is going on in the rest of the world in terms of finance and business before you go out and try to find your place in it. I have personally been in job interviews at banks where they asked me questions like, name 3 things that are going on in the world and how this bank may or may not have to respond to it, right? And I've heard from students of mine that have gone to other jobs where these kinds of current events things come up, right? What's going on with the oil market crash and how is that going to affect our firm's business, right? They're just trying to see if you're paying attention and if you have critical thinking skills. So starting to read the financial news is the only way that you're going to be able to know that. Right? So one of the things I've done is I've posted Wall Street Journal articles that go along with the things that we're going to talk about in this class, right? So here in the first lecture, we're going to be talking about accounting stuff. So we're going to be talking about taxes and how companies handle their taxes. And here's an article talking about that and how it's actually working in practice. Okay. Now, those of you that, and I expect that's most everybody, don't have a Wall Street Journal article access, you don't pay for it. And again, I would encourage you, particularly if you're a finance major, to pay for it. It's cheap as a student, or relatively cheap. I also just post a Word document here so that you can read the article even if you don't have the access. Now, that's not true on every single lecture, but I try to do some of that. Okay. So there's always example problems. There's always lecture videos. In some of the chapters, we have Excel examples, and we'll talk about those, and we'll have lecture videos that cover those. Sometimes I have other documents, other things. For instance, this is a picture of a living bond from the Amsterdam Water Authority from 1648, and a bond is a loan. So this is a loan document from the 1640s, right? So I just have things that to go along with all the lectures and videos, and I encourage you to at least take a look at all of them, make use of them. Okay. Now, underneath all the lectures and example videos is the homework assignments and the Excel project. They are all self-contained. They all have instructions. The homework is all based here on the project. It'll be available. It'll tell you when it's due. It has these instructions here. And you need to read the instructions before you do the homework, because this is automated homework. It has very specific rules about entry and how to do the problems and how to round and things like that you need to follow, or you're going to get it wrong. Okay. Now, you'll be able to get into the quizzes. They're quizzes, but you'll be able to get into the homeworks on their availability date until their due date, and they'll be due at midnight on the day that they're due. Okay, you'll have 2 attempts to do the homework. So you can do the first attempt. It will give you all the solutions and detailed help at the end of it. Not always for every problem, but for the majority of the problems, there will be detailed help and solutions, how you are expected to solve the problem. It will then give you new numbers and some new problems, and you'll be able to do the second attempt with new numbers. I will always take the highest of the 2 attempts. Okay. Now, sometimes the grade book that's listed here, it's supposed to automatically do that. Sometimes it does not do that. Do not freak out about that. I can always see both attempts. You can always see your grades from both attempts just by clicking on the homework. I will go through at the end of the semester, take the highest attempt no matter what. I keep my own grade book. This grade book here is just for your own edification. It's just so you can follow along. It doesn't have any implication on your actual grades and how I record them. Okay. So there's the 8 homeworks listed here. They're already there. After that is exams. You will have 3 exams and a final. You can see that they're already posted. What you will be able to see is the material for the first exam. You'll be able to see that there is a review file, a review solutions file, and an exam file, which again will open up. You'll be able to do it during the exam. You will have 90 minutes to do each exam. The exams will close at midnight, so you will have to start 90 minutes before that, but you'll have a 24-hour period to do it. At the very top here is a formula sheet that I would normally provide in person. Given that it's online, you can sort of have a more extensive formula sheet if that's what you want, note sheet, whatever. There is here a practice respondus exam. This is nothing but me asking you to download the Respondus browser, hook up your webcam, make sure that the system works for you before you take the first exam. So this is open from today, the first day of class, until the day before the first exam. If you do it, and all that is set it up, click yes, and turn it down. I'll give you an extra credit point, so 1 point towards your final grade, which may be the difference for between an 89 and a 90. So there's nothing to do there except to make sure that your Respondus works for you, so that you're not doing that the day of the first exam. Okay. Otherwise, there's nothing here. You'll click onto the first exam. You'll do that like normal. There are, of course, several exams. Okay. The last thing down here at the bottom is calculator help. There are lots of information here. The important one for us in this class is the, at least if you're going to use the BA2 Plus, is this. This is the handheld calculator BA2 Plus guidelines. It is an example of every type of problem we will do on the calculator with button-by-button press help. How do you do time value of money? How do you do present value of a cash flow? There is an example here of each one of these and the buttons that you press. So press this button, press this button, press this button, press this button, and compute IOI, and there's your answer. Okay, so this is going to be your first step if you are having trouble with the calculator. And the videos that I posted didn't make it clear, or you had some issue understanding that. Then YouTube, or me, you can always ask and I can try to help. But this is a great resource. It's right here at the bottom of the page. The graphing calculators, there is a guide for using the finding and using the functions. Again, there are functions in the graphing calculators for everything that the financial calculator can do. It is just different. So it's a different way to get there and a different way to do it. Here are the instructions for doing that in the TI-83. I believe that they're the same or very close to the same in the TIs 86 and 89 and all that. I think they stay the same. But again, I'm not an expert in every calculator ever made. So if you are using a different calculator, you are going to have to find a way to do it on your own. Okay, but there are guides here for at least the TI-83. Okay. And the TI-86. Okay, so down here, calculator help, make use of it. Okay. There are a few helpful things that As You Learn does that you may not know that it does. One is that it gives you a list of upcoming events. So it gives you a sense of a calendar, right? So all the things that are assigned are listed here. So homework 1, the practice respondus exam, you can go to the calendar itself and you can see that in the calendar. It'll tell you, once we get to January, it'll tell you all the things that are due. It'll list them. You can click into them directly. You can also export this calendar to your G calendar, your school G calendar, and it will set up and give you reminders like straight to your phone from your normal calendar, which I do because I have a lot of classes and it's hard to, even for me sometimes, to keep up. This is a really, really useful thing to do, to export this calendar. You can take it directly to your Google Outlook, whatever calendar you use. It'll pop up on your phone and it will, then you can set a reminder. Remind me 3 days before every homework is due, things like that. That's the only way to be successful in an online course. You have to keep up. You got to find some way to manage your own schedule. And As You Learn actually has a really useful tool for that. So I highly recommend it. That calendar will populate with all of your classes and all the due dates, not just this one. So every class that's on As You Learn, that calendar will populate for you. Okay. So it's really useful. All right, let's go back to the syllabus really quick and talk about just the final few things. Okay. Let me just do this. Okay. So there's no attendance. I'm not going to keep track. You guys are adults. You signed up for an online class. I'm going to stop beating a dead horse, but you got to find your own method to be successful here.
Okay, let's talk a little bit about grades. The grades are pretty straightforward in the summer class. You're going to have 3 exams. Each of those exams will be worth 25% of your final grade. You're going to have 5 homework assignments. Each one of those will be worth 5% of your total grade for a total of 25%. So your homeworks are worth at least as much as all of any one of your other exams, which means the homeworks are really your chance to save yourself if you have bombed one of the first exams, right? So for the homework assignments, you get 2 attempts on each assignment. You have pretty much unlimited time from when it's available until when it's due to look at it, to go in and out. And then once you do your first attempt, you can do your second attempt and go back in there. So really, as long as you're willing to put the time in, there is no reason why everybody shouldn't be getting very good grades on the homework, which means there is no reason why you shouldn't be getting close to, if not completely, the entire amount of the 25% that's worth it on the homework, right? The exams are one shot. You get one try. But hopefully, even if you mess up on one, you've gotten all the points from the homework, and that's going to be what saves your grade. Okay? Now, all the exams are given proctored online. So again, we talked about all this. They're given on the Respondus browser. You get monitored. So all of that is something we've already covered. I don't do any rounding in this course. I don't do any curving in this course. So I'm not going to adjust your grade because everybody else did too well or too poorly. Whatever you get in this class is exactly what you're going to get. You'll be able to see that the entire time using that Check My Grade Excel sheet that's right there on the As You Learn page. Of course, it's not a complicated weighted average here, so you can always just check it manually as well. And you'll be able to see all your grades going forward. All of that is visible in the grade book. So don't go in here, don't come into this class and don't go forward in this class expecting that there's going to be a big curve at the end or anything like that. Okay. Otherwise, the grade distribution here is pretty standard. 90 to 100, you get an A. 80 to 90, you get a B. I do give pluses. I don't give minuses. So just keep that in mind. The only really other important thing that you need to keep in mind regarding grades is that if you are a finance and banking or a risk management and insurance major, you must get a C in this course in order to go on and take further courses in the major. Okay, so that's new as of last year, which makes it not that new anymore. But it is a new requirement. So this is a prerequisite. You must get a C if you're a finance and banking or risk management insurance in order to move on in the major. Everybody else, the standard applies. These get degrees. And so you're good to go. Okay. Okay, so the other thing that we need to talk about is that there are no makeup exams. This isn't something that this is not just a one-time event. The exams are available to you during the entire day on which they're due. You have this syllabus as of last week, so you know exactly when the exams are going to be. That's not going to shift around. So there's no reason for you to have any excuse on why you have to miss an exam. You can take it at any point during the day, whether you're working or not. So I don't offer any makeup exams. If for some reason you have an extreme emergency, something's going on, you need to contact me beforehand. I will consider those on a case-by-case basis, but I don't want to be getting emails from everybody every week saying that, oh, your 4th of July party means that you can't show up for the first exam. Okay, so keep that in mind. I'm pretty strict on this, and it's going to have to be a legitimate reason why you need to take the exam at some other time than when it's listed. Okay.
Now, the Excel file that is on the As You Learn page right here, Check My Grade. Check My Grade will allow you to check your grade at any point. It is a pre-built sheet that will automatically check and replace and calculate your final grade. Okay, so if you are registered with the Office of Disability, please just get in contact with me so that we can handle your disability requests. That's all that stuff's super easy online. We won't have any issues there, but I need to know so that I can handle it. Okay, so please get in contact with me. Academic integrity. Usually I blow through all this, but I had a bunch of, unfortunately, in the past semester, had to deal with several instances of cheating online that had to be handled through the university. I never want to do that. I hate it. It's awkward for everybody around. You don't want to do it. It can be bad. It certainly goes on your record. Don't cheat. There's no other way to handle it. You guys are adults. You signed up for the class. Hopefully you want to learn. I understand that you have other pressures and that online learning is not always ideal. But you have everything at your disposal in this class to do well. And you can always reach out to me if you feel like you're struggling. There's also tutoring, and we can set up any kind of group, learning Zoom sessions between classmates to help each other out. But if we catch cheating, we turn you in. And the rash of cheating that we've had in the past semester is why we're now doing this monitored exam thing. So unfortunately, the people before you have screwed it up for you. But don't continue that. Okay. Other than that, that's all I have. Okay. So we will. You'll see some more emails from me coming up. You should be watching this first lecture on Chapter 2, expecting the first homework to come up next week, and that we will continue on at a quick pace. Particularly important in this class is these first 4 chapters. These form the basis for everything else we do, and they will be the sort of the newest, weirdest material that you haven't thought about in the way that we're going to talk about it. So this first exam always catches students by surprise. It is almost always the worst exam among students because most people don't take me seriously when I tell you that it's hard and that it's new and that it's a lot. Okay, so take me seriously. Be the best class. I hope everybody in this class gets an A. I am happy to turn in all A's. I am also happy to turn in all F's. Well, not happy, but I'll do it because you will get the grade that you earn. So take it seriously, and I hope everyone does really well. Okay. That's all for this intro lecture. This is way longer than my normal lectures. Each piece of all the normal lectures is only 10, 12 minutes each. So break it down. Don't try to watch them all at once. Don't overload your brain. You can take it slow and steady, and you'll be able to do really well in this class. If you have any questions, please send me an email. If you want to meet with me, please send me an email. Otherwise, I wish you the best of luck, and you'll be seeing and hearing from me quite a bit more throughout the semester. Okay? Have a great week, and